And welcome back to Netrunner World Championships here in Barcelona and Casa Ruiz. We are seeing Sokka play CableCarnage. We will have Hoshiko playing against NEH. I am Guy, and I am joined
by Captain Anis.
Yeah, and it's a good pleasure. This is our first time commentating together. It's very exciting. Also exciting, the Hoshiko going into this Near Earth Hub. Now, we've seen a lot of this Near Earth Hub list a while. Is there anything that you may not be aware of? We have anything jump out at you on that list? We actually do have open lists now, of course.
So as someone who hasn't played against this list all weekend, this is wild to see.
Yeah. We have seen it on stream. So there is Reaper Function, there is End the Line, there is Mindscaping. This is an NEH with teeth. And big teeth at that, fangs, very wide NEHs. So presumably, if we were to extend this metaphor further, as a big gaping maw. Meanwhile, over on the Hoshiko side, have you seen that list so far? Or
I'm familiar with this list. Like about the NEH list, this list also has stingers because it also has Behold, which is which is B approved.
Yes, it is B approved for those of you who are following the. I believe it is a Stim Hack collective meme. Which tell me more about the B meme.
So there was the Queen Bean competition. It's by Sanjay, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I'm a big fan of Sanjay.
And you could collect B points during Worlds. And Behold, obviously, a B card for obvious reasons.
Absolutely.
A lot of people were doing quite well for Queen Bee this year because Biobands was a B card, Bossa is a B card, Behold is a B card.
Yes. Am I to understand there is a bit of a controversy over wage workers being a B card?
I believe so. There was some talk this weekend about whether bees are wage workers or whether they're not wage workers because they don't. To my understanding, bees don't get any wages.
With the economic system of the bees, I must admit, I am not an expert. One thing, well, I'm also not an expert on Netrunner. I was about to segue into one thing I am an expert in, but no, I'm not. One thing I have seen a lot of this weekend is more of this. Now, the Hoshiko list. Had a lot of things we might have seen in other lists. The Carmen, a couple of things to note. Boomerangs for quick access. We've got 2 boomerangs there. We've got Diesel for draw. We have Miss Bones. So this has a lot of potentially quite useful things here on the NEH. Looking at the multi-access to the twinning choice. No Stargate here. 1 Leech. Again, there with that Strike Fund, moshing, steel skin scarring, combination, and the console of choice is, of course, everyone's favorite. More, I love more. So what are you expecting to see in this matchup? Like, how do you think those early turns are going to go?
So, as I understand with this NEH, it's going to be all about setting up basically a board that cannot be dealt with, and then setting up a kill combo at some point. And the problem is Hoshiko gets a ton of advantage by just making runs, which is what you want to do anyway, right? I've been told that's pretty good to do.
I have heard such things, yeah. Obviously, since the banning of DreamNet, that has taken a slight withdrawal on Hoshiko. Just shuffling up now, I think they've both had a chance to read each other's lists as well. We're looking now at just that first opening draw. We are down to this is the cream of the crop. These are the very best players from around the world who've been able to come to Barcelona here. So it is a privilege on my own part to be able to watch and commentate for you all. We do have. We got a timer there, just off screen there. For a moment it was on screen beautifully. No, it's back on. Very kindly left for us there, showing that these are 40-minute rounds. Just the shuffling continues. They have 5 minutes to read each other's lists. I don't have knowledge yet of whether this is whether they've both taken a loss so far, so I'm not sure if this is lose and eliminated or whether we are dealing with winners. That's something I will try and get to you as the information comes to me. You did quite well at the tournament, I believe, Captain?
I did pretty okay. I had a certain point during round 7, I was on 9 and 5, if I'm not mistaken, and then I did two for ones, double-sided Swiss, gotta love it. And then I won twice. Last round of the tournament was one of my favorite games of all time. It was incredibly tight. Just an amazing game against a great opponent, and I ended up winning that. So that was an amazing way to cap off an amazing tournament.
Well, congratulations! Thank you very much for joining us here, so you can let some expertise to these proceedings.
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, we're off to the races.
We are indeed off to the races. So we have the NEH looking at a potential opening hand here. Just deciding whether the mulligan goes. Mulligan goes right there. Sokka then make a decision on that side of the board. We see a twinning, looks like a raindrop, looks like a fermenter. That's not an instant mulligan. Maybe some thinking going on there. Looking at the whole thing, and that is it looks like a semi-reluctant keep, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, I would say that hand is about maybe like a 7 out of 10. Like I didn't even see CableCarnage's hand that well because he mulliganed it like almost straight away. I saw Bologna, I didn't see much else, but it didn't look like something that you would be happy to keep.
Yeah, I think from what I've seen of these decks, there's sort of a lot of what they want to be doing is opening with install remote. Has been a classic start for these NEHs. Expect the screen to go wide. And indeed, there is our first install. We have a server 1 of, I suspect, many. Secondary install, new remote, and a third install on the new remote. So
you're amazing at Netrunner. You called this.
I called it. Yeah, it's as if I've been here before. Absolutely. So looks like we've got a raindrop cutstone run into wage workers. I've just been informed both are currently undefeated, so these are players very much on call for a win. So we've seen the wage workers. Choice not to trash there. I've seen a lot of wage workers trashed here. What would be your instinct of?
It is something that has to go like sooner rather than later, but it is really early in the game at this point, and Sokka doesn't have like a lot of money. Although I like seeing the raindrops being used as the Anarch dirty laundry.
Sure, yeah. And then we're seeing some money for later with the daily cast and fermenter. So 2 runs, maybe checking to see what's there. Obviously, the federal fundraising free to res gets res. Been quite frequently in these matchups. Haven't always been contested. There's been a mixed level of how contested they are. Helping to control that draw as well. We haven't seen what's in the third server there. I don't believe so.
I haven't checked it yet.
Yeah. Do you have any theories or?
Well, if it had been a Rashida, it would have been rest already, obviously.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it could be an agenda, and then Sokka is going to be very sad about not checking that. The agenda that you'd want to push out really early. There's this list has false leads.
Yeah,
well,
false leads.
Probably a little early to push that. Tomorrow's headline is possible, but again, that doesn't seem very likely.
Yeah, I think tomorrow's headline does get used very much for the potential kill combo. False lead there sets up the Oppo research, and you've got tags but no clicks to clear them with, which is always a fun situation to be with in the runner. Looks like we get a threat assessment to shuffle there. So we're not ready to push agendas yet. We are going to shuffle some back, showing to opponent. Unfortunately, I didn't catch what those were. If I had to guess, I'd say a false lead is shuffling back, but maybe those with keener eyes have been able to spot exactly what. No res yet on the wage workers, presumably because there isn't going to be a matched turn. So not worth resing as of yet. Still only 5 credits, so you don't want to be wasting any of your credits on a res for what might be trashed.
What I really like about this deck list is one of the things that I always dreaded about playing against CTM was running into the Moonbat and getting all my money sapped and taking a tag. And Behold does something sort of similar where you don't have to trash it, so you're not losing any money on it, but you will take 2 tags. And then that is something you have to deal with. So you can't just run every single server and expect there to be something that you can just check and then decide whether to trash it or not. You might end up tagged, and you have to choose your runs very carefully. Absolutely.
We have seen Behold be sort of very big in this kind of matchup from both NEH versions and R+ versions of it. Looks like we've got a run here, and that is a Malia. So that is Malia, I think, has been used in this matchup sometimes to blank tag removal, at the right time. So often it stays unresed. I could see it being used on a Liberated in the right circumstances. I'm not sure whether Sokka is on a Liberated at the moment. Can't see that on the list. So we have now 2 federal fundraisers now raised. Sokka just make a decision of push through more or kind of build some of your own board state. Big question there. Like, you always have to balance that aggression with making sure you've got something behind you.
I have to say I've been pretty impressed by the federal fundraiser. When I read it, I was like, well, this is clearly Rebalance Sensi's Actors Union, which was an incredible card from in Moonbat. And this card isn't as good, but honestly, it's been overperforming. It has been performing way better than I thought it would.
Yeah, no, it's shown its power over the times we've seen it on stream. I think possibly that counter on the board there is perhaps to indicate you've run this and seen this. This is the Malia. It's not going to be res for quite a while, so you can remember which one this Malia is, because there may well be more. So I think that's just a sporting gesture from on both sides there, just to allow the indicator of this is the very server. So there's an install and res on Spin Doctor, getting more draw on there for NEH, getting them speed along, keep moving. That is Your Digital Life, fantastic card that we have been seeing in a lot of matchups here. Gain 1 for each card in HQ, so straight after a Spin Doctor, that is going to be a gain of some money. I'm afraid I can't see how many is in hand there, but it looks like a gain of around 5. So you're near sure gamble money at that point.
It's not record breaking, but it is pretty good.
Yeah, not broken the stream record as of yet. I think our last game had quite an extensive Your Digital Life, which we were commentating on there. That is a secondary install as well. So we still aren't doing the 3 of the same thing as of yet. Looks like wage workers will have to wait. We are discarding cards.
So currently I'm looking at the corp list, and it's only, if I'm counting correctly, it's only 3 ice. It's a ping, an unsmiling, and a virtual service agent.
Yep, that is correct. That is what we have been seeing. The very occasionally ice will turn up. And it just at those exact key moments is when it turns up. You spend your whole day as runner going and checking these remotes, going and running things. You never really install anything to actually deal with the ice, and then all of a sudden you actually need something.
And notably, it's one of each. It's 1 sentry, 1 code gate,
yeah,
and 1 barrier.
Absolutely right. That's as it should be. Interesting that I think Boomerang will be a reasonable answer to all of those in Sokka's list.
Well, Boomerang is actually quite bad against Virtual Service Agent, because they will take attack if they use it.
Oh, absolutely, yes. I had confused that with another card. You do avoid the 1 credit loss, though, having paid 2 credits for the privilege. But at least you're through. So we now have a res on the wage workers. So we are going to triple advance, score that false lead, snuck out there a false lead.
The way Sokka throws his hat back, that says enough, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. That very much pushes the pressure on the run to be very careful, and using that extra wage workers click for an install and a nearest hub gets the free draw from that installing a new remote. So that very much changes the number of the game. False lead, of course, can only be used where the runner is able to lose the click, so you have to make sure you are using it in a position where they are able to do so. But that very much puts the time pressure on Sokka in terms of if an Oppo research is played, you need to be careful not to try and money up first, and indeed in the long run, when we reach the higher threat levels, you can get them down to 4 tags and no way with clicks to remove them. Looking at Sokka's list as well, I don't see any no free lunch. There's no wheels or any similar card that will allow for clearing tags, without having to do it the old-fashioned way. The
good old basic action.
The good old basic action card, which basic action card done a lot of work over the years to clear tags. Has been propping up a few economies here and there as well.
I think the one saving grace for Sokka at this point is he has a good amount of money on the table. He has more money coming in. CableCarnage isn't particularly rich. I think he has 7 credits currently, and nothing that makes him money, although the wage workers is straight up value that sort of makes money in a roundabout way.
Yeah, exactly. It can be used as a certain pant campaign if you really want it to. If that's what you want your fourth click to be, there you go. That is your pant campaign. Is there other recurring credits in this list that we just haven't seen yet?
There is no drip to speak of, but there are 3 regoliths in the list.
Ah, yes, okay.
Which that is a lot of money. That is 39 credits, I believe, or 42.
Yeah, if you get them all going. Now we do see a Rashida that's going to assist with the both the money and the draw. Those 3 credits, 3 cards. Then obviously the basic action card comes through. Now I suspect there's a small part of CableCarnage that's hoping, do I draw another Your Digital Life? Because that would be a wonderful way to boost my money even more. But perhaps there is something else being drawn for as well. Potentially some part of this kill combo, if you start putting it on the board, being able to then put that kill combo together and have the false lead thread as well, along with the Oppo research. Those are, we have seen how these lists have come at the runner from a variety of angles as well.
There's so many cards being drawn here. 3 of the Rashida, the mandatory, and then the federal fundraising, 2 cards. There's going to be a lot of cards in HQ, and Sokka can start pressuring that maybe.
Indeed, and the install, finds itself again with the NEH draw. That is a secondary install. I suspect we'll see a 3rd install to get the wage workers, and indeed we do. And then following the wage workers, what are we going to do with the wage workers? That is a hedge fund.
That is better than clicking for a credit.
That is definitely better than clicking for a credit. You're absolutely right. Looks like there was nothing there. I think I spied just a small. I believe this list runs seamless launch. I think I saw that in the hand there. I may have seen wrong. I could have sworn I saw some purple there, but perhaps I was mistaken.
We see Malia being res now.
We do see a res on the Malia. It'll be interesting to see what that is blanking. It looks like it's blanking a daily cast. Just I've remembered. I've put together that I don't think there's anything that I really want to blank. So I will, deal with Amalia in the. I mean, it's mean to even stop broadcasting. I don't want you to have 8 credits. I don't want you to have any fans. You may not like and subscribe and hit that follow button. There are no casts from Sokka.
We're seeing the Anarchshire Dirty Laundry again.
Dirty Laundry on this middle card here. As we are seeing, that is a Reaper function. That, I suspect, will be trashed. That is a big part of a potential flatline combo. I think CableCarnage would be disappointed to see that go. Though obviously with Spin Doctor on the board, that can be shuffled back in. Always remains a threat. Be interesting to see whether we've got the opportunity for an Oppo. Now there is a lot of money on that Fermenter. I think that may well be key. It's ticked up. It was great install early. Just giving that little bit of effectively clickless economy. While Sokka's going around and dealing with everything, quietly in the background, some money is being generated.
And it's still early in the game, so Opera Research, while giving you value, won't be anything that the runner can come back from.
Absolutely not. No, we have seen quite a lot of Oppos played for value. The case of it cost me 2. However, it's going to cost you 4 and 2 of your clicks, which you want to be doing other things. So I think we've seen it quite a bit when there's been more than 1 in hand as well. Some of the lists we have been seeing were R+, so some of that is balanced. Maybe in the NEH you're slightly less willing to pay it because you don't get the 2 credits back. But I think we've got I think we've certainly got an interesting board state here. How are you expecting to see more aggression, or do you think this will be more controlling of the board from Sokka's side?
I think maybe if Sokka was on Crim with more Miss Bones and more ways to make money off of runs, like Bankroll, for example. I've seen a couple times this weekend, if you have that kind of list, you can play a more control-based strat and really trash everything, keep the board under control. And this Hoshiko does make a decent amount of money, but it doesn't have the econ, I think, to, in the long term, with the recursion and so on, to keep up with this board state. So I think Sokka is going to want to try to trash the key assets. I think the wage workers has to go at some point. Obviously, the kill combo has to go. But everything else, I think he can sort of ignore and try to just, because of there's so little ice in the list, try to just win off of centrals and try to win that way.
Yeah, I have heard people saying that, one of the ways to combat this deck is to only trash the things that you absolutely have to trash. Now, the opinion on whether the wage workers needs to go is another one. Interesting, the Malia trash there. Ultimately, that will pay for itself in the long run, of course, because that gives the daily cast money back. One can lose that HP token. I want to make sure that goes back to its correct owner in the long run. But as of yet, no trashing of the federal fundraising or the wage workers, allowing just that value to continue if necessary, just not going too low on credits.
That fermenter is getting really ripe. I suspect it to be cracked probably next turn, or maybe even the turn after, if you can afford it.
Yeah, do you think you purge here, or do you think you're reliant so much on keeping a sort of forward tempo that you don't have time?
It is becoming to a point where the fermenter is getting out of control, but I don't think CableCarnage has the time to start purging here. Also, notably, purging doesn't trigger wage workers.
I know, yes.
I had to explain this to someone. Like it works differently than Jeeves in some ways, and it is similar in some ways.
Absolutely. You have not done the same thing 3 times. You have done one thing 3 times as slow. Indeed, our Jeeves appearing on our screens there. For a days gone by,
A blast from the past.
Exactly. Go play some Eternal, and there is a value oppo, I think, being played.
This reminds me so much of those old CTM lists that would hard-hitting news, knowing you can clear the text just fine. Like, this is not going to be a kill, but I'm going to sap your turn, I'm going to sap your clicks and your money, and I'm getting value out of this because I will recover from the money investment just fine, but you will not. Absolutely.
That is what we've been finding, that the clearing of those tags, those 4 credits and 2 clicks, which you want to be doing something else with, sets the game back and sets your game back. Meanwhile, we've had 3 installs, of course. Mm-hmm. You might ideally want to go check them.
And a lot of the value cards that used to be able to clear tags without you losing tempo, like Citadel Sanctuary, Deuces, those are now gone.
They are.
There are very few options left to be able to clear tags without losing a lot of tempo.
Yeah, we've seen a little bit of no free lunch. We've seen a little bit of wheels going around, but trashing the wheels as well is not always what you want to be doing, and that is a run. Unfortunately, the glare is preventing me from seeing what that card is. That is a...
It's a Checker Scion, I believe.
That is a Checker Scion. That is a trap that is going to give more tags. That is not what Sokka will want to have been seeing. I did not realize there were Checker Scions on the list as well. Yeah. There are 2 apparently, along with the 3 Beholds. That is a great way to give. That'll just be 1 tag, but that's a free tag.
But unlike Behold, this doesn't cost CableCarnage anything. This is literally just Sokka would just waste a click and he just got attacked for his trouble. While CableCarnage spend a click on his last turn, but with Wage Focus, he's getting so many. He's got so much value from this.
Yes, absolutely. Now it is interesting to note that it seems like Sokka may have declined to trash it as well. Just on the basis of, we're not going to trigger another Oppo research ability if necessary.
No, there's no reason to trash this.
Yeah, absolutely. There aren't any upgrades that can go along with it that the Checker Scion can protect. Interestingly, we haven't seen a false lead use. I think it's been quite carefully played around there. But we have some unknowns. We have a lot of unknowns staying on the board there. And Sokka having to decide what to do with the turn there. But yeah, Checker Scion is again it sort of goes back to the Mumbai Virtual Tour type of thing that you run because you feel you have to keep the board down, and unfortunately the only thing that you have received on the other side is problems. So getting a moshing there to try and clear hand, get some more things that are actually wanted in hand, because there are Sokka does have 1 Miss Bones in this list. If that Miss Bones can draw, that changes, I think, possibly what Sokka can do with their turn. Also worth noting, there are Moors in this list. If a Moor comes down, then all of these checks, if there are no trashes at the end, is going to disrupt CableCarnage's hand. Interestingly, a Leech coming down by the looks of things. Possibly planning for, if there is ice that comes up, it will be easier to deal with. That's it's not the card I expected to see down, but ultimately it is value from all these central runs. and you never know where the extra credit that you don't have to spend to increase the strength is going to come in handy. So we've got a lot on the table. Are you fearing at this point that a kill combo is down there? Do you continue to try and be aggressive on it?
So we've seen one Check a Scion, we've seen one Behold so far, so there's still 3 hiding out somewhere.
Yeah.
At this point, yeah, you got to assume that maybe one of those cards left, because CableCarnage has drawn a lot of cards. Like, those Federal Fundraisers do a lot of work.
Absolutely.
But the problem is, and that's the kind of fork that this deck sets up, right? You have to check stuff, because if you don't check stuff, you might just end up dying. But if you do, you might end up getting tagged. And I think the false lead is actually pulling a lot of weight here, because Sokka has to play around stuff so carefully.
Yeah.
Because if he ever messes his clicks up, that could just be it for him.
No, absolutely. And we do see, and I think they're called ICE, now appeared on HQ, which will actually prevent a run, potentially, from coming in. We did see some more assets, and I believe the install on the wage workers.
It's going to force Sokka to actually get a breaker at some point.
Potentially, yes.
Potentially.
Though I don't know how many of this ice actually ends the run from memory of what is in this list. I know the VSA doesn't. I don't believe the
ping actually ends the run.
The ping does indeed end the run. If we see a ping, there is one end the run subroutine in 49 cards. That is a wonderful thing to see. That is a regolith being seen there, I believe. There's that decision of, do we want to trash the regolith, or do we want NEH to be able to go, okay, I'm not going to do anything else with my turn. I'm going to take money off this regolith, and my wage workers have gone down the mines for me, and thus will be even more efficient than sending other kind of workers down the mine.
Yeah, Regolith is one of those cards that I really underestimated when I first saw it. So I looked at it first and I was like, well, it cost me 6 clicks to get the money off. 6 clicks is a lot. That is an eternity. On the other hand, 15 credits is a lot of money.
Absolutely, yeah. No, it's if you and certainly if the one thing you are lacking in a deck is some money, having the regolith down there does seem to be a great use of it. And of course, when you are a lot of people have said to me that this NBN, the reason it can beat runners is because it's got 4 clicks. And that's what Wage Workers is providing, and Sokka just hasn't really had the room or opportunity to go and trash that with confidence. So we are again using the HP counter just to indicate what has been seen. Now 3 federal fundraisings there. So giving CableCarnage a lot of potential control of that draw to be able to go fast as well. Taking a step back, there is 1 point on the board. Where are agendas right now?
Well, clearly they're all on the board.
Okay.
Sokka just hasn't found them yet.
Okay. This is
Well, the federal fundraisers are definitely pulling their weight here. You can literally just put an agenda on the top after doing the federal fundraising thing, proc the second federal fundraising, and then keep putting it on top as you draw more and more cards.
I see.
And you can basically just keep it on R&D for perpetuity.
I see. So you're able to sort of stop that happening. Looks like the regolith. The plan is to use the regolith and using it with the wage workers there. I think just briefly checking with the judge that yes, these do all count as the same action, which of course they do in this case. So that was a turn of that. Looks like an install there, actually installing over the Checker Scion. So in fact 3 clicks off the regolith and then 1 install, not causing a draw from the NEH and choosing to avoid their own ID ability, possibly to enable the Checker Scion to be shuffled back as well. That gives an opportunity. But one wonders whether that. As you were talking about that sort of precise control of what is R&D and preventing their own draw, I think this is I believe there has been some discussion in that testing group about whether R+ or NEH is better, and that was one reason to go to R+. You never have to risk that.
And we see the Maw coming out now.
More coming down. That is very big. So a run on the federal fundraising is going to start some hand disruption there. That is, and there is no way to stop this more being able to happen here. This is a huge install. So it goes in the bin face down. Sokka doesn't get to see what that is, but we know there is some disruption happening. That puts a lot of pressure, I think, on CableCarnage. That feels like a turning point in the game. Am I right on that?
Yeah, I think so. At this point, Sokka can just... HQ isn't open currently, but he can, at least when he checks a server and there's no value to be had there, he's going to get value from the Maw trigger. And especially with these types of decks, they need their cards in HQ to get a lot of value from them. So it disrupts the combo, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And worth noting that the text on Maw indicates that it is not the runner who is doing the trashing. The Corp is doing the trashing, thus not triggering the condition on Oppo research.
Sokka is installing the cleaver, so clearly he respects the ping.
Yep. That is a Rashida draw. Interestingly, so the only way we can now get a mistaken opportunity to get the Oppo is if there is an agenda stolen, because of course you don't get a choice on whether to steal an agenda. That won't trigger more as well. So we have the potential there for the surprise getting into the Oppo condition. Though thinking about the agendas that are on there, how many of them do not have conditions where you don't have a cost as a runner, because I believe Bologna, obviously there is a cost there you can refuse to pay and therefore not steal. Degree Mill as well is the other major agenda. So your only options, I believe, are False Lead and tomorrow's headline. I believe you don't get no choice.
And if you steal tomorrow's headline, you're getting attacked for your trouble.
Yes, absolutely. So that's a potentially a very worrisome turning point if that happens.
With the False Lead score, that could also potentially turn into a kill depending on the board state. So that's also something to be. The False Leads are the only thing that you can steal, and be totally happy with that, but it's only 1 point, and 1 point while he has no points stolen, and he has a long way to go at this point.
Yeah, no, absolutely a long way to go. It is 1-0, but a lot has happened, a lot of back and forth, a lot of high level plays have had to happen to get us to this point. A lot of back and forth. I would say that my read is that at the moment we're kind of in the no clear leader, unless your analysis is different.
No, I still think this is anyone's game. I think because of the board state, with Sokka having Maw and access to servers, he could just get agendas and win, which is something we've seen quite often, happening in this tournament so far. But with the way that things are, and we don't know the entirety of the board state, CableCarnage could just have the kill in hand. He is ahead in money, but not by a lot. There is a fermenting ticking, so Sokka can money up and make sure that he stays ahead of, I believe it's called SIU, which is the asset that also helps facilitate the kill.
That has been a part of the combination. I think we have seen some of is SIU gives one tag, which of course does allow end of the line. So we we have various kill combos that Sokka is having to work around. Of course, what we don't know is whether there are steel skin scourings. I don't think I've seen any play. I think they're being quite correctly held onto. I think they are going to be, held back to avoid a potential kill combo. But this, it does mean that we have the option. Look, another check there on a remote. Does see a checker sign, gives a tag. We have a more trigger there. Carefully making sure not to see the cards. It goes into the goes into archives there, unseen. So it looks to me like obviously clearing the tag. You don't want to be holding that tag, but another slight economic impact, and all of those could matter in the long run. I haven't seen any beholds as of yet. Managed to dodge all of those so far. Presumably by now you think there's some beholds on the table, having not done anything, but. The fear, I suppose, is that they are something else that you
The nice thing about Behold is also it works from R&D and in HQ. So if you ever run second click and you see a Behold in HQ or in R&D, CableCarnage can then use the false lead to remove Sokka's clicks, and then he will be tagged. He will have 2 tags. Yeah. Sokka's probably going to play around that. He's being very careful about when he's running, respecting the false lead. But it's putting a lot of strain on someone mentally to have to always calculate, well, can I run this click? Can I not run this click? And that's what the deck is good at. It's straining you in multiple ways.
Yes, absolutely. I think putting on the considerable even the intellectual strain. But we are seeing here the current reigning world champion. If anyone can do it, I think Sokka can.
I've heard he's pretty good at Netrunner.
I have heard this thing, and obviously we are seeing a great example of it now. We also have the query here of is there a sort of plan B for CableCarnage? Can there be a look? We'll try and score here. If we can't get the flatline combo.
So we've seen both Checker Scions. The thing about Checker Scion, we've only seen it naked installed. You could also directly install advanced, then it will actually give 3 tags instead of 1.
Yeah.
And you could bluff it out as a Bologna or Dugrimo. However, looking at this list, I don't think this deck scores out or doesn't tend to. There's no ice to protect behind. You could bluff something, but mostly you're looking to kill.
Yes, no, I think that's certainly plan A. I think the question is whether can you maintain on plan A when you have the risk of the steel skin scarrings that haven't been played. By now there's been a lot of draw. Are we in a situation where we can reliably say that there's going to be one there, and therefore we are going to need to deal with them? But there may well be enough of a combo with Reaper Function and with Mindscaping and with End of the Line. If you can put it all together, the steel skins are not enough to save you. I think that is a possibility.
It is also good to keep in mind that CableCarnage is favored because he has 9 minutes left in the round. If he can survive until then, then he has the 1 point, so he will technically win on points.
Well, yes, absolutely. Yeah, just has to make sure not to sack that false lead and go down to 0. Yes, maybe that is another false lead score. Searching through all the remotes there, I'm sure I put a false lead here somewhere, but that is huge. We now are in a situation where you can oppo, give 2 tags, and then steal the entire turn. From Sokka, if you wish. That is a big score on that false lead. That creates a lot of potential problems there because Oppo research does not require in any way for you to be able to outmoney the runner.
Nope. It just requires the runner to interact at some point. If Sokka trashes or steals anything, that basically translates into double false lead, sap all clicks, and you have 4 tags going into my turn. Absolutely.
That leaves you with a lot more possibility on what you can keep on the board. So it looks like we're just doing a run on a federal fundraising, probably for a more trigger, I would assume, with a raindrop cutstone, just to get a little bit of the Anart Dirty Laundry there. We're just doing a more trigger there. Presumably we could be in a situation where we want to play Oppo. We can't. Oppo's in the bin. We can't get it back right now. 2 Spin Doctors gone. Presumably 3 Oppos in the list.
It does have 3 Oppos.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's a choice. You've got to respect it. I'd have been on 1, just, draw it. But these players are, they know what they're doing. So, so that's fair. Looks like we're having a quick check on the bin. We are seeing, so we can see what has been moored there. I believe a Behold has been moored. So unfortunately it did not get to fire, and I did not get to say Behold in my grandest voice down the microphone, as I have in previous rounds.
I'm sure that Sokka is very curious to see how many Oppos are in archives, because that is going to dictate a lot of what happens next.
Yes, indeed. Unfortunately, we did not see ourselves how many is there. But you're quite right. This 2 points to 0 could be a very interesting way to go to time. We are looking at 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes left on the round. Looks like money being paid for on the fermenter coming in. Just a reminder to use your leech counter there. I think Sokka realizing that there is literally no use for the leech counters in this matchup now. The cleaver is here and various other things. So currently at 2-0, and it may well be that. I mean, it could be in a amusing side that it is not beyond the realms of possibility that this deck wins on points. Wins with those false leads. Possibly, would you consider that there is a possibility that Sokka is going to hold until their very last turn and then go, right, here I go. I am going to go and steal agendas right now, so you only have the one turn.
He only needs to steal a single 3-pointer to actually win on points.
Yeah.
And the thing is, CableCarnage can spend both false leads to basically sap Sokka's entire turn, but then he'll be at 0 points. So
Yes, exactly.
that isn't an option.
Yeah, so that is a curious anomaly there. That well, actually, it depends who's the highest seed.
It depends
I
who
suppose.
the highest seed.
That would be a very odd wave to proceed through a round of Netrunner if you were to.
You
Time is called. I sack both false leads, and as higher seed, I claim victory.
There has been I have seen a game one time with 3 false leads where one player was at 3 points and the other player was at 0 points. And the player with the false leads sacrificed 2 of them to win on 1 point.
I mean, you've got to respect it.
It was incredibly rude, but also incredibly amusing.
Yeah, incredible tournament play there. I mean, if you've earned your higher seed, then fair enough. I actually don't know who is the higher seed in this particular instance. I'm just seeing whether I have any reference to it at the moment. I don't believe I do, so we will have to muse on that.
Both players on an incredible amount of money, but the thing is, it doesn't really matter for Sokka how much money he's on, because he can die anyway. He could be on 1 billion credits, and it wouldn't matter.
Well, I suppose the consideration is the SIU. That is one route potentially to CableCarnage's victory, which does rely on traces. So it looks like we've got a dirty laundry on a new remote. A face down that we don't know what is there. Some thoughts going into that. That is a spin doctor.
Oh, you hate to see that with the dirty laundry.
Yeah, so that is a spin doctor. Do you suspect that gets shuffled, or do you suspect that gets left? Because, if you want to trash it, well, congratulations. You've just interacted with my deck in such a way as to allow for the
Exactly. I assume that CableCarnage was going to remove it from game and use it, but he doesn't want it. He's okay with it getting trashed.
That's I wonder a consideration. And of course, Sokka has the consideration of the Maw trigger, which will of course fire. So I'm just getting informed that the higher seed is indeed CableCarnage, allowing for perhaps the ultimate tournament false lead. Sokka, congratulations, you've been falsely led to the wrong tournament. I think is what's happening within the world of Netrunner. There, if we stretch Netrunner's narrative rather to breaking point there.
Only 3 minutes left on the clock. This is going to come to a head very soon.
I think we are going to see some very dramatic turns happening. Obviously, we have more trigger here. I need to make sure that is not seen, so it goes in the bin there. But that could be anything. That could be Oppo. That could be an agenda even. So we could be in a position where, as Sokka hits their turn, they go right. Here we go. Everything is happening. I'm going and getting. But it does seem to me that some of the potential flatlines that CableCarnage has depend on having 2 turns to do it, and that could be very, very significant as we come into the necessary intricacies of tournament play and timed tournament play.
So Sokka's checking the bin here. Is there anything? There's an Oppo.
That is an Oppo, and that is a false lead.
You have to steal that, and now he's open for Oppo.
Oh, that is huge. That is a problem. That is not what Sokka wanted to see, I suspect. Going up to 1 point there, and that point may well be damning, but it's interesting to see there is an Oppo on there. It's possible that the Maw has giveth and taketh away on CableCarnage there.
Knowing that he's open for Oppo, he is going to go to trash the Spectrum Doctor, but CableCarnage is using it now, probably shuffling back that Oppo.
I think that will be very telling if we see an Oppo shuffled in. With the federal fundraising, you've got perhaps a slightly more reasonable
double
chance.
Oppo getting reshuffled.
Double Oppo getting reshuffled. That you would presume there are 3 Oppos in that R&D. This is it's down to the deities of Netrunner what happens here. The old women spinning the yarns of fate now have all of this in their hands. Sokka shuffling there, and I can't remember how many cards we see off federal fundraising, but I feel like it's a lot. And with 1 minute left, this is edge of your seat stuff. This is. We're having a look on what's there. Possibility of a Rashida. That's a gaslight.
Oh.
That is going to allow the Oppo to be brought into hand. That is huge. That has just been sitting there waiting. I believe there's a 1-off in the list. Not sure what's happening here. I think possibly we get to choose the order of start of turn effects. And so we are doing the federal fundraising because we perhaps have two parts of the combo that we need. And we know which one we need to then go get with the Gaslight.
Exactly.
That seems to me entirely probable. Question will be, though, do we actually have a flat line here? Time is running out because, if it wasn't for Steelskin Scarring, I'd feel totally confident that there was a flat line here. But with Steelskin Scarring being, almost definitely in Sokka's hand, I feel like, Sokka definitely wouldn't have played it. Very careful play. Might not have drawn it. Might have been really unlucky.
And that's time in the round.
Time on the round.
And CableCarnage did start his turn when time was called. So Sokka, if he somehow survives, he has another turn. He is lower on points. It's not over, but it's looking very scary right now.
I think there's some questions about whether CableCarnage has in fact. I think the turn has started. I think we got you. You are on your start of turn effect.
Yeah, so he was already starting to draw off the federal fundraising.
So Judge just clearing that up for us. I think possibly some questions about the exact nature of the draw.
It is a very complicated board state with the Gaslight, with the triple federal fundraising. Like there's a lot of stuff happening here, and this is the crucial turn of the game.
This is big. This is. We are seeing some cards,
and ideally they can take their time. There's no reason to rush. Time has been called. They do only have 2 turns, but they should take all their time with their turns.
Yes, I would, mostly echo your sentiments. I am aware, of course, that I think you can just see Tournament Organization Mara in the background there, who
keeping a watchful eye.
Yeah, may well want a game to finish out to move on to next rounds with slightly more urgency. To keep everything moving. Obviously, less of a concern when you don't have 256 players to finish a game.
Or to wrangle.
No, to wrangle, I believe, is a correct term. So I would assume, because there is no possibility, to my mind, of a flatline, that you instead... Do you just hand 2 clicks? Now that time has been called, I think this is turned against CableCarnage. I think they are just one little bit too late to actually get the... Because it's a 2-turn flatline combo, to my mind, or a possibility of one. So I think CableCarnage thinking there, trying to look for that path to victory. Is the path to victory the timed win of 2-1, or is there some other route, or is it 1-1 indeed because of the higher seed? This is, I need to lie down. I can't speak for everyone here. That is a res on.
So that's an upper research.
That is an upper research being played. So I mean. Interesting to me that that of course that ends the turn, but there is no more turn to be had. Of course, if I have read the board state and the timing correctly myself, whether they're looking for the moral victory of I would have got you.
No, I believe it's added to the board, and he was asking a question to the judge and whether he could add it to. Oh no! Now I'm confused. He added it to archives.
Yeah. So and there are now 2 tags on Sokka's side of the board, indicating that 2 tags have been given by the Oppo Research for its first ability there. So it does look like it was played. But I would be intrigued as to whether CableCarnage gets to have another turn on here. Now it looks to me like we're not instantly sacking these false leads, which indicates to me that CableCarnage doesn't have another turn. Or perhaps there is more at stake, and CableCarnage has obviously thought through the full ramifications.
Very few cards left in R&D.
Very few left, and presumably stacked in such a way as to CableCarnage's approval. So you presume something untrashable on top.
Yes.
If that was available. So it looks like we are getting a run, and that is a res on some ICE, giving another tag there, using a leech counter. I think possibly using a leech counter just because.
Just for style points.
Just for style
and
points.
This is the first subroutine being broken all game.
Is this indeed our first central run all game as well?
No, he's ran centrals before.
On HQ and R&D.
Yeah,
oh,
that's
is
the
incredible.
win.
There is the 3-pointer. That is quite something. Looks like there were 2 in hand as well, so there were some chances. There is a end of the line there as well, so it looks like we did have the beginnings of much of a kill combo. Sokka goes through on what must be an incredible game, depending on a lot of things being right. Look, two Reaper functions staying in R&D as well, so that definitely limited the opportunity. Look how stacked that R&D is as well. Like, progressing the game that far, like even federal fundraising will not deal with it. Like, looks like we do have a behold on the board there, showing what could have happened. But I believe this ends this particular round. I think we will be back fairly shortly with the next round. Thank you very much for joining for this round, Captain. It's been a pleasure to have you here.
It was very fun commentating with you.
Yeah, no, thanks very much. And I'm going to go for a short nap. We'll be back shortly.
Later.